Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about something that affects, I think, every one of us. When we're angry, when something is not right, when we feel an injustice has been made, and it's to react, right? To react in anger and perhaps raise your voice, maybe scream, maybe say some choice words and that sort of thing, especially with our intimate relationships. So I do want to let's talk about that because that is a problem that I'm seeing more and more, right? And I know you have experienced this in your life a lot. I mean, you have that whole thing of Karen, being a Karen, which, by the way, I don't like that. I don't use that terminology because I think that it's hurtful. And I think that, but because I think that all of us could be a Karen at one moment or another, provoked or unprovoked. And my goal is to give you some tools and to understand how acting like that um, does is not for your higher good. It never ever is. And one of the things that we as a human race needs to work on is to communicate in such a way that we build a solution versus creating a bigger problem. Okay. So the first thing that I think we need to do is when the situation triggers us is to learn when to engage and when to just stay quiet. Sometimes staying quiet is the best answer, even though you're dying to tell this person off, even though you just want to get the world to know how you feel. Many times, getting to that point is so important to just stay quiet. Okay. And I know I can hear the naysayers saying, but they did this and they did that. You don't understand. If it was you, you would also be up in arms. Honey, I've been there. And I was one of those that didn't know how to control myself. And my mom used to kind of remind me all the time, Yamil, you don't have to respond. You don't have to react. It's a choice. And it truly is a choice. Because one of the things that we need to understand is that as humans, we are trouble solvers. We're problem solvers. We're here to solve problems. Okay. When you react without thinking, without pausing, without checking yourself, okay, we are letting it all out. Well, letting the lion out. Why they deserve it. Well, they may deserve it. I'm not questioning that. What I'm questioning is when we react in anger, how does that solve the problem? Will telling that person off that cut you off, or telling your daughter that didn't clean her room for the last decade, okay, with screaming at her, how is that going to solve the problem? Okay, that's not going. There's something there. There's something happening underneath the surface. Something that's blocking that action, that thing that you want. And our job is to truly discover what that is and try to figure out if we can meet somewhere in the middle, or we can change our expectations, or we can together work on a solution that works long term versus the problem coming back over and over again because screaming didn't work. That works for children. I have four, three that still live at home. And it's important, definitely. To me, it's important. I barely ever have to raise my voice to my children. Not that I'm not strict. I'm pretty strict. You can ask them. But I do make my needs clear. I make the what my expectations are clear. And if they don't meet them, I'll address it. I say, what's going on that this was not done? Oh, mom, I forgot. Or, oh, mom, I'm sorry. Or, mom, I need help with this so that I can get that done. And then we can solve the problem. Because here's the thing, one of the things that you definitely want to do is you want to lower your reaction full of anger. Here's the thing, if you're a parent, children don't learn from what we tell them, they learn from what we do. That's how they learn. If we concentrate on reaching out with anger and we're so upset and we are so mad and we keep, balking at the children, you're going to create different kinds of problems. You're going to create, number one, you can create a child that doesn't know how to defend themselves in the world or deal with anything, any challenge, because they'll hide, because they'll be afraid. They may make a mistake and not come towards you and tell you, mom, I screwed up. And then you're the last person to find out and the problem became bigger. You're going to create parenting based on fear. And anything done based on fear is a temporary fix. It's not a permanent fix. It can create other problems. Okay. It can also create depression, anxiety in those people that are, that we're venting to. So keeping that in check is extremely important. Okay. When you communicate disappointment and anger, okay, we need to look at the big picture. So, how is this interaction going to be beneficial for this person and me in the long run? How is that going to be beneficial? You know, um, one of the things that I love about life, right, is that we have, as long as we have breath and we are here, we have a chance to make up, we have a chance to make amends. But how many times are you going to strike up on fear, create a problem, make it bigger because now your anger and your unbridled reaction came into play, made this problem much bigger, and then eventually you have to apologize because then maybe you've discovered something else that you didn't know, and then you have to apologize because dang it, I overreacted. Okay, so I highly encourage you to truly understand that you don't know everything about every situation out there. If you're dying to scream at somebody, let's say at McDonald's or somewhere, because maybe they got the wrong order or something, you don't know if that what that person is going through behind their face. You don't know if they're depressed, anxious. Maybe their parent is in the hospital, maybe their child is in the hospital, maybe they are about to get evicted, and you don't know how what emotional turmoil they may be going through. So it's so good to always walk in their shoes. There's a book that I highly recommend, and I mean it's a classic, right? The Seven Habits of the Most Effective People. And on there, Dr. Covey, Stephen Covey, spoke about this analogy of a person in a train, kind of in her mind criticizing how come this man wasn't controlling his children that was running amok in the train. And then when she kind of went, hey, your children, he said, I'm sorry, they just lost their mom. I don't know what I'm going to do. And the whole perspective of that person completely changed because they understood at that moment, holy cow, this gentleman is going through a lot. This is not just an oversight of him. Let them run crazy. He's going through something traumatic right now. And so you never know, even if somebody's smiling, okay, and looking, this and that, you never know what they're going through, how they're suffering. You don't know that. And sometimes, and unfortunately, this is true, sometimes all it takes is that one incident, one person, to push that other person to the point of committing suicide. And I am going to put, the phone number for the suicide hotline. It is a topic that is extremely close to my heart. And I do want to, if you need help and if this is your situation or you know somebody, please call the hotline and it's going to be in the description down below. But if you are someone that is always angry or easily lashes out to your loved ones, especially your loved ones, because I find that we're nicer to strangers than we are to loved ones, right? And I want you to truly examine, why is it that you feel that raising your voice will get you heard? Because if you're raising your voice, that if the other person is not deaf or has some kind of impairment, hearing impairment, there's no reason to raise your voice. And it's usually the reason why you're raising your voice is because of your own frustration with the situation. Okay, it all comes back to us. But it's important to go back and understand and go in, okay, why is it that I feel that if I don't raise my voice, I cannot communicate or I'm not heard? And what you're going to find as you do that work, and I'm also going to suggest, if you need a counselor or someone to work through those, I am going to have a description down below for online counseling service that I've been recommending to my clients. And those that have hired them, they have found that it's being affordable, it's online, it's confidential, and it's absolutely, it's been life changing for a lot of my clients. But because you may need to do this work, inner work, with somebody along with you. But if you don't want to go that deep, you can also take a journal. I'm big on journaling. If you know anything about me, I changed my life with journaling, vision boards, all that kind of stuff. But if you take one moment after an episode where you lost your crap, you lost your shit, you go and you sit down with yourself. And I like to put some music, some soundtracks on YouTube that are, just very relaxing music, and pen and paper, and just write down, look back at that moment and write down how you felt, where it came from, what can you do in the future, and then you keep writing why this happened. Okay, and then you're gonna keep digging, why did this happen, why did I look, and take ownership of yourself. Here's the thing, we're always trying to fix the problem of everybody else. We're always trying to say, oh, he did that, she did that, da da da. Listen, I am telling you, focus on you, focus on going deep inside of you, because you can only fix yourself. Okay, if it's with children, we can guide them, but eventually their own traits and personality will guide them through life. But when we have children, our job is to give them direction. Okay, but in a way that is constructive, and they learn from us. Okay, because let me tell you, nothing's going to hurt you more than when you're watching you're with your grandchild, and your child screams at them for something that you feel should be handled differently, but then you're going to think back to how you raised them, and you're going to say, I think it's modeled after how I treated them. You don't want that moment. That moment is painful. That moment will show you a lot, your mistakes. So if you still have children at home, they're the perfect person to practice this with. Okay. So once you do that, then, because you also need to understand, right? Once you do all that inner work and you go deep and you understand, okay, maybe it came from my childhood, maybe that's how my mama used to raise me. And let me tell you, I'm Puerto Rican. My mama used to scream and shout and rebel and all of that. When I started having children, I made a conscious decision that I was not gonna hit them unless I was up to the kilt. And I tell you, most of my children, I've barely laid a hand on them. And it was never like, let me get the chancleta and tan 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 tan, or get the belt, and never like that. It will be more like a little slap somewhere, like to get them to wake up from what was going on. But it was never to inflict pain, versus me, my mom, did do, me and my brother and sister, we did suffer a lot of painful, physical, painful situations, because she would lose her shit and she would start hitting. And it's not something that, if you have a problem with that, definitely get help. Okay. because yes, they're your children, you can do whatever you want, and this is, this video is going to YouTube. Maybe you're not in a country that's no big deal, but the damage, the emotional damage that you're doing to your children will be generational until you decide that, okay, I need to do better than that. All right. So you need to understand also that when you start doing this work and you start holding back and truly analyzing and truly saying, and you know what, sometimes it works to just say, because I've done it, I've said, hey girl, I want to scream so bad right now to see if you understand me, but I know your ears work. Okay. And then I say, let me chill out, because next things are coming out of my mouth are going to be nasty. And you know what happens usually? I step away. Maybe I'll go make up myself a cup of coffee. Maybe I just go to my room, to the bathroom. Maybe I take a shower. Sometimes I've done that. Just take a shower, let the water kind of wash over me, to calm me down. And then usually my children are the ones that come back to me and say, hey mom, let's talk about this. Like, once I'm cool. You see, I barely ever have to go back to them and say, okay, now let's. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I go, I have to take a shower, whatever. All right, girl, come, let's sit down, let's talk about it. And then we're able to talk about it. Okay, this is why I got mad. This is, I told you to clean your room 5 times, and then you asked me for this, and I told you not to do it. And then what's going on? How do you understand the importance or no? Do I need to explain the importance of you doing that? And that sort of thing, and try to get to understand them. you know I mean, the whole thing of understand so you can be understood, it is so important, even with children, because that way they're learning to process their own feelings and process their own blockages. Okay. And you definitely want to be that person that they can reach out, because even if they're in therapy, that therapy is what, once or twice a week, but you're there with them every single day. So a lot of it comes down to you as well. So another thing to keep in mind is that you want to speak with purpose, right? Speaking with purpose, it is so important, because you want to make sure that when there's a situation and you're about to lose your shit, and you go deep and you, okay, hold on, let me figure this out. How can I communicate my needs without having to shout, without having to scream, without having to belittle the other person? Is that, remember that whatever you speak it with purpose. Okay, what is the purpose of these words coming out of my mouth? Am I going to destroy this person's self-esteem? How does that benefit anybody? When you destroy somebody's self-esteem, it doesn't benefit anybody. Okay. And many times, if it's somebody that you can keep out of your life, if there's somebody in your life that you know challenges your self-esteem, and it's not a family member, or a family member that you can stay away from, by all means, save your energy, protect your energy, protect your self-esteem. But if that's not possible, you still want to understand that it is up to you. Okay. Just concentrate on you, concentrate on what you can say that will have a good purpose, that would end up with a good result. Okay. You can only control yourself, you can't control anybody else. you know and finally, the last point that I want to make is, sometimes it's best to just walk away. You don't have to engage in every challenge that comes your way. Sometimes a battle is won by not engaging, by not responding, by not, saying, you're an idiot. You don't have to do that. You know, you definitely don't have to do that. You have a choice. You choose what interactions are worth it and what interactions are not. Not every interaction that you have in your life is worth it. Not all, not, you know, it's time that you take control of those emotions and just, be peaceful with yourself, be peaceful with your decision. You know, understand that sometimes the best action is taking no action. And I'm not saying to ignore the problem. You know what problems I'm talking about. Sometimes when people get us angry, the best thing is just to walk away. You decide which of those interactions are worth to walk away. You know, if you've been having the same argument with your spouse over and over again, you know, and he raises his voice or she raises their voice or whatever, you don't need to engage. And I'm saying not always walk away physically. Sometimes that's not possible if it's in a car. What I'm saying, walking away, meaning just staying quiet, keeping quiet, not engaging until the firestorm goes down. And then try to take that firestorm, understand where it comes from, and don't focus so much on the symptom. A lot of times, when people speak in anger and they raise their voice, it's a symptom of something else that's bothering them. I don't know if you watched Sex and the City, but there was, I think it was in the movie. No, I think it was towards the end of one of the seasons that Mr. Big told Carrie when they were having a fight about something. It was something that she really felt, and but she was fighting about something else that was not related. And she told him, he told her, looked at her sweetly, and said, "It is the fights are never about the spoons, forks and spoons." In other words, the fights usually are never about what's being discussed angrily at that moment. Many times, the actual fight is about something else that somebody's afraid of putting out in the surface, something they're afraid of actually going deep into. Okay, so if you, as you hear, and I know right now you're like, that's weird. I'm telling you, as you start, after you watch this video, and I thank you so much for watching it up to now, and I truly hope this helps somebody out there. But as you watch this video, next time that something happens and is angry, mad, screaming, or yelling, maybe it's you, go deep into what was the actual source of that fire. You see, when you have fire, there's elements underneath that cause the fire, right? Something, maybe it was a match, maybe it was gas along with electricity, in case of a gas grill, or maybe it was, a lighter. You have, things that move, and then the gas. The fire is what you see. You don't really see or focus on what caused that fire, what is underneath the fire. And that's what, if we focus on that, on solving, finding what that is, digging, okay, deep into it, even though it's painful, even though you don't want to, even though the other person doesn't want to, but going deep and finding the source of the fire, it's how you're going to be able to understand where the anger comes from. Okay. But you can't do all that work screaming and shouting at each other. Okay. It's just not going to work. It's not going to be healthy. Okay. You're not going to get to that because you're going to get burned, right? You're trying to touch the fire when it's going on. No, you need to wait until it's over. Once that fire is over, then you can go through the ashes and see, okay, so this came from this, actually the source is this. How can we work together to solve that problem? Okay, so this is what I have for you today. I hope that it helps. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Please let me know. Many times, I'm speaking to a camera. I have no idea if this is helpful to anyone, and it truly helps me to know that this is good, that this is doing something, helping someone out there. Okay. Mwah. I love you so much, and until the next video. Ciao.